The shit has hit the fan and we're 72 hours in. This is what I do next.
If you made it through the first 24 hours, you've already seen how fragile things can get. But 72 hours in, the rules change and desperation is setting in. From this point on, survival isn't about reacting to panic. It's about making the right moves. What you do next could mean survival or failure.
So hello, welcome back to the channel, and thanks for clicking on the video and checking the channel out. Now today's video is a follow-on from previous video we done, which was what would you do 24 hours into an shtf situation, and that was my 6 steps I would take. Now in this video we find ourselves 72 hours into a serious shtf situation, and these would be my 5 steps I would take next. Now as I said, these are just what I do. You could be completely different. So please feel free about commenting below, let me know what you think, and let me know if there's any differences you take if you find yourself in this sort of situation. Now before we get into the video, believe it or not, there are people out there who watch the videos but don't subscribe to the channel. So if you are one of those guys who likes the content but don't subscribe to the channel, please think about liking and subscribing. It's totally free of charge. Hit the notification bell, that way you'll be informed for any new content that comes out. So there we are, we find ourselves 3 days, so 72 hours into a really serious shtf situation. What do we do next? We went through the previous video, the first 24 hours with our 6 stages there. Now there's no anacronym in this video, you'll be glad to know, but in this video we're just going to have my top 5 stages I would take. Now history shows most emergencies within 3 days normality is usually set in. They've usually got things squared away or they're in the process of sorting out. But in this scenario we find ourselves completely different. We're 3 days in and there's still no sign of any law and order being put back in place. All the shelves are starting to empty, the streets feel unsafe, and the unprepared are feeling desperate. This is the moment where survival gets tougher, and these are my next steps I would take. So step 1, it would be securing more water. Now if you've secured enough water for the first 24 hours, yeah, good job, well done, but now it's all about sustainability. You'll be surprised how much water you actually need. It's not just for drinking, but it's for cooking, for washing, and for waste management. Especially if you've got, say, a family with kids or other dependents, you'll be very surprised how much water you actually need. So the tap's being dry, now I'll be looking at collecting, say, rainwater or river water, filter it, and use that for washing and waste management. Try and save what supplies I've got of drinking water for cooking and obviously for drinking. Now with that collected water, I still go through the process of filtering it, even if just passing it through a millbank bag or through a shamag, and still use that then for waste management, for washing clothes, that sort of stuff. That way I'm preserving and not wasting all my water purification supplies on water I'm going to use for menial tasks. If I'm using it for personal hygiene, for washing, I go through the process of filtering it even more. Put it through a portable water filter like the British Berkfield or LifeSaver systems, or you could even pre-filter it and then boiling it. If you're using water for washing your face, brushing your teeth, all that stuff, you want to make sure it's clean. But for waste management, flushing the toilet, for washing clothes, general tasks like that, just a pre-filter probably be enough. So maybe at this point in time is the time you get your portable water filter out if you've got one. Your British Berkfield filters, LifeSavers, like I said, there's countless others, to pre-filter some water. The only thing I'd say is don't advertise, obviously, your water filtration systems you got, and don't obviously let on what water you have in store. In these sort of times, these sort of serious situations, water could be more valuable than gold. So that was step 1, is securing more water. Step 2 is security and patrolling. Now by day 3, desperation drives dangerous behaviour. In large towns and cities, people will be starting to panic and they'll be walking around looking to see what they can take to survive. So at this time, 72 hours in, I'll be looking to set up, say, a rotation with family members, close neighbours, some sort of perimeter check, patrolling, whether it's obviously your home or the neighbourhood. Now, as we said in the previous video, by now you should have already set up a comms network with your close family, your neighbours, your friends, now as this time is getting more serious, now's the time to get eyes on the ground and look out for any potential threats coming your way. So having regular patrol shifts with your close group not only forms a protective shield, visibility, having people on the ground, keeping an eyes out, can also act as a deterrent. So that was step 2, security and patrolling. So step 3 is securing more resources safely. Now by now, 72 hours in, the shops, petrol stations, the high streets, they'll be in chaos. And if you've got enough supplies at home, yes, I'd avoid them entirely. But your supplies are going to run out eventually. So now may be a good time to perhaps go and seek more supplies while there's still some there. Now I probably avoid the more obvious places for supplies and go for the more overlooked options. Vending machines, warehouses, rural supplies. Now if you are venturing out, move quickly, travel light. Perhaps think about traveling, say at night or very early hours in the morning. But whatever you do, make sure you have a plan in place on where and when is the best place to get supplies. Now another thing to consider, if you're in a small town or rural town, everybody knows everybody knows everybody's business, and everybody's out looking for supplies, perhaps you should join in. Now if you're not there and you're avoiding that sort of situation, perhaps people might start to think you've already got everything you need at home, and they may come knocking on the door when they need something. So even if you've got supplies you need, it may be just a good idea to join in and act just like everybody else. So that's my third stage, is securing more supplies safely. Now step 4 is sanitation and waste management. Now you're 3 days in and you've gone through half a dozen tins of Spam and 28 tins of baked beans, and rubbish starts to pile up. And rotting rubbish attracts vermin, and human waste spreads diseases. So at this stage, I'll be looking to set up a small incinerator in the back of the garden using a metal bin, or like the Americans like to call a trash can. But I'd shelter that in such a way where you couldn't see the fire at night, and I'd burn at night so you couldn't see the smoke. Now, depending on where you live, burning rubbish may not be possible. You might have to bury it, far away from your home, or you might have to find somewhere safe to dispose of it. Now, with waste management, I think you all know what I'm talking about. Your toilets are still going to work for a certain amount of time, but you will have to manually flush them with a bucket of water. But the cesspits and waste management systems will fill eventually. So this sort of time, 3 days in, you might want to think perhaps long term. What am I going to do when that situation arises? So are you going to start perhaps digging a latrine, a trench, somewhere in the garden or somewhere close by, or build yourself some sort of compost toilet? How you build yourself a compost toilet I can show in future videos, but now perhaps is the time just to start thinking about it. So there you are, that was number 4, sanitation and waste management. Now, as I just alluded to, I will be doing future videos on this. We've done 24, doing 72. I'll probably do, say, a week, a month, and perhaps even longer into an shtf situation. And what can you do, or what steps you can take to survive that. So if you like that sort of content, obviously keep tuned. Now, before we get to number 5, just to recap, we've had securing more water, number 1. Number 2 was security and patrolling. Number 3 was seeking more supplies safely. And number 4 was sanitation and waste management. So what is my number 5 on things I would do if I find myself 72 hours into an shtf situation? Well, that's preparing to bug out. Now, depending on where you live, it may become clear that it's no longer safe to stay at home or at your location. Fires, gangs, lack of resources, all cause forced movement. Now, in these sort of times, having that bug out bag, full of supplies, your food, shelter, water, communications, first aid kit is essential. Now, what sort of bug out kit you have? It could be a box of supplies. It could be bags for yourself and all the family members. If your vehicle still works, you could have all the stuff packed in the back of the vehicle ready to go. If you just got the bags, have it by the door, ready to move. So at this 72-hour stage, I get my gear in place, and I'll be preparing myself and my family physically and mentally for that possibility. So have all your plans and gear in place, and if you do have to go, go fast. So there we are. There's my 5 things I would do if I find myself 72 hours, 3 days into an shtf situation. There's just one more thing I want to touch on, and that's mental resilience. Now, 3 days in, stress and fear can break people. So at this point, I'm trying to keep spirits up and keep morale going. Set daily routines, give small tasks, even to kids, keep them occupied, and when you can, rest. Now, survival isn't just about gear. Sometimes it's about clarity of mind. Now, your family or group may have young children, may have vulnerable people, may have elderly people. They all need someone to look up to, someone who looks calm and looks like they got everything under control. 72 hours into a serious shtf situation is all about adapting to the new reality. So there we are, guys. Here's my 5 stages on what I would do if I find myself 72 hours into that sort of situation. And we touched a little bit about mental resilience as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I will be doing future videos on longer periods of time. So the next one will be about a week in, then a month, maybe 12 months, and who knows, even longer than that. But for now, that's the video. Hope you took something from it. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you do like the videos and you haven't done so already, please think about liking, subscribing, hit the notification bell. And if you do like the videos and you want to see some more, check that one out and that one. And I'll catch you again next time. All the best.